Welcome back to my channel Lomzy Sews. In today's sewing tutorial, I will show you how to cut and sew a Bubu style with fringe and V neckline, and it also has an inner rope for fitting. You can decide to tie the rope or you can decide to loosen the rope. As you can see me do, I've loosened this. You can wear it free like this anyhow you want to do it. It's a very simple tutorial and anybody can actually do this. Let's start with the tutorial. To sew this bubu, I'll be using 1 meter of fabric, that is 40 by 60. I have chiffon fabric here. You can use satin for this. I'm also going to use fringe, of course. I have 20-inch fringe. I bought it 3,000 naira per yard and I have 3.5 yards here. Next, I also have a strip of plain fabric, black. You can use any color of your choice. Here I cut out 3.5 inches on fold. As you can see, if I fold it, it's going to be 1.75. I'm going to use this bias to make the V-neck and also for the inner rope. I'll go ahead and set this aside and fold my fabric. Here I have my fabric folded into 4. As you can see, this side are not on fold and this other side is on fold, as you can see. Next, I'm going to draw a starting line, and this line will serve as the shoulder line. So first, I'm going to get the neck width, which is 3 inches. I'm going to place it here and mark it. I've already added sewing allowance. Next, I'm going to divide my shoulder divided by 2, which is 17 inches, divided by 2 is 8.5. I marked it here. And the full length I have here on fold is 22.5 inches, as you can see. Next, from here, I'm going to come down 1 inch for the shoulder slope. You can come down 1.5, or you can even decide not to give it a slope. I'm going to connect this to this place. I like to do this because it helps my bubu to sit properly on my shoulder. So I'll go ahead and extend it down to the side seam like this. For the back neck depth, I'm going to come down 1 inch. I will connect it to the shoulder line like this. And for the front neckline, from the shoulder, I'm going to come down 10 inches. If you want it to be wide, you can come down 11 inches. But make sure your V-neck is wide. I'll go ahead and connect this to this. Next, I'll mark for the circumference of the sleeve. So from the drop shoulder, I'm going to come down 10 inches and I'm going to notch this place. This is where the sleeve round will stop. So I'm just going to notch it. I'm not doing anything to the side seam, so that when I'm sewing the side seam, I will know where to stop. Next, I'm going to measure from the shoulder down to the underbust. This is for me to add the rope, the inner rope. You can decide to skip this if you don't want to have an inner rope for your boob. So here I came down 15 inches and I'm going to square this line out. I'll go ahead and cut this out. First, I'm starting with the back. So I'm cutting out the back neckline. And then I'm going to cut the shoulder, adding 1/2 inch sewing allowance to that. I will take away the back and I'm going to cut the V-neck for the front. So following the line, I'm going to cut out this place for the V-neck line. To sew this, first I'm going to start with the inner rope. So from the center line here, I'm going to measure 6 inches or 7 inches depending on how big you are, but I'm going to measure 6 inches. I usually use 6 inches for all sizes, and I'm going to place the rope here and sew it. Also the same thing on the other side. I'm going to place the rope like this. Make sure you watch the way I'm placing the rope. I'm going to place it like this and sew it so I can turn it the other way around. So I'll just go ahead and mark that line so that I know where to to place the rope. After placing it, this is how it's looking. Next, we are going to sew the v-neck. This is the center of the v-neck. I'm going to also align it to the center of the bias for the v-neck. I place the two of them together, making sure that the front aligns properly. And I'm going to align this center to the center of the main bodies. Place it like this, but this I'm going to place it under it. This is it after placing it. I make sure it overlaps with 1/2 inch for the sewing allowance. So I'll go ahead and draw the shape of the v-neck like this. And then I'll remove this and go to my machine now and sew here like this. After sewing it, this is how it's looking. Next, I'm going to cut away the excess allowance I made in there. Be very careful so you don't cut the v-neck design that you have made there. After cutting out that excess, I fold this like this to give it the v-neck design that I'm looking for. Next, I'll go to my ironing table now and I'm going to iron this open. So open it out and iron it. After ironing it, it should align properly like this. Next, we are to sew this. So on the main fabric, I have sewn 1/2 inch sewing allowance. I'm going to notch it like this. I hope you can see where I have sewn. I make sure I got to that place. So I'm going to take the bias strip fabric and I'm going to place it on the main fabric like this, making sure I have 1/2 inch. Just watch what I'm going to do. I will place my needle here and turn this way and sew it and come to this place, and I also hold it down like that, take it the other way and also sew it. Let's go to the sewing table. So this is it. I've pinned down the center front with my office pin. So I've aligned it properly. I'm going to sew away 1/2 inch. If you have noticed, I didn't start from the beginning. I just started like 3 inches away from the shoulder line. So I'll just go ahead and sew it down to the center front. I'm trying to remove the pin I used to hold it down so that I know where to stop. So I'm going to stop at that place where I have pinned it. I like to do some back stitch as you can see me do. Next, I'm going to turn it the other way like I showed you. You can see how it aligns. I will turn it to the other side and I'm going to place it the same way I placed this other side. Make sure it looks exactly like the first one. You're going to place it over like that and sew it. If you have watched this video till this time, make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you haven't done that already. And if this is your first time coming across my channel, don't forget to subscribe and turn part of the family. And I have a whole lot of Bubu styles tutorials on my channel. I'll drop the playlist in the description section. To my returning subscribers, thank you guys for always supporting. As you can see how neat the v-neck is looking. Yeah, so look at the back. We'll go over to the shoulder. So I've placed the shoulders like this. I'm going to go to my machine again and sew here. After sewing it, this is how it's looking. You see the strip, I've not finished it. So now is the time for me to finish it. So I'm going to place it like this. At the center front, I'm going to overlap it with 1/2 inch sewing allowance. Just watch what I'm going to do. I'll cut away the excess. Make sure when you're using your strips is very long enough so that you don't under stitch your whatever. So I'm going to place this like this and sew it and then close it. So this is it after sewing it, as the neckline is looking very neat. You're going to go ahead and overlock this and you're going to use hemming gum to hold it in place. Don't stitch it on top, just use the hemming gum and iron it down. Next, I'm going to place the side seam together like this and I'm going to sew the side seam from the hem to where I have notched. Remember where I have notched for the opening, and I'm going to fold the other. The next is for us to do the needful, which is the fringe. So I'm going to place the fringe. You can decide to place it on top like this, or you can decide to place it under. Anyhow you want to, is your preference. But for me, I'm going to just place it right side facing together and sew it. With this, we have come to the end of today's sewing tutorial. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.